Good morning, everyone. It is August 4th, 2022, and I have been starting my fall garden. I'm in Florida, Zone 9A in Northeast Florida, and I wanted to go ahead and do inventory of all my fall seeds and decide what I wanted to plant and start making a list of what I don't have that I need to purchase for fall, and then start laying out and making a plan of what I'm going to plant for fall. So I went through the buckets that I went through today of seeds where my herbs, flowers and beneficial flowers, tea flowers, beets, carrots, rutabagas, root crops, greens and brassicas, onions and radishes. And I have already started some things. So if you watched my video a couple days ago, you know that you know about some of the things that I've started and things that I have going in my herb garden and my grow bags. But I'll go ahead before we get started on what I'm planning on starting here in the next week. Some today, and as the week, throughout the rest of the week, I want to get these things started. I will be doing more stuff like in 2 weeks from now, and then again in September, probably on a 2-week succession. I'll be putting things in as it gets cooler. So it is still 100 degrees here. So what the things that I can start for fall are not everything, like certain lettuces and things will go to seed really quickly in this heat because we still have 3 more months of heat basically. But I'll let you know how that's gonna go, and we'll play it by ear. I don't always know how things are gonna go, and I just keep putting things in and trying stuff out until something works. So the things that I've already started from seed are peppers, indeterminate tomatoes, determinate tomatoes, which are the Roma and the bush steak. Those are seeds that I bought from the store. The indeterminate tomatoes are just seeds from tomatoes that I've been growing throughout the summer in my summer garden. I have started some eggplant, and the eggplants were a variety. I just bought some eggplant from the store. They had a variety of different kind in just in a bucket they were selling at the IGA, where they do a lot of local vegetables. So I just picked out a like a long skinny purple, and then a small purple, round purple, and then a one that looks like an amethyst. Is kind of like a white and purple variegated, and I just cut the seeds out of those and planted them. So that's what I got going on for the purple, or for the eggplants that just started. I started some purple tomatillos. Those seeds I just bought from eBay. I have started some zinnias, the Giants of California, and I did some autumn sunflowers, some sweet Italian basil, Thai basil, and culinary blend basil. I have started some Creole onions from seed, and just these past couple days I started some collard greens and red Russian dwarf kale. I also, out in the garden, I started some green bush beans. I did pintos, stringless green bush, and Roma 2s. And then I also started some Ford Hook limas. And I say the Ford Hook limas and the green bush beans, I'm just going through my seeds from last year. None of these are new seeds, and it still might be too hot to plant those. So that's just experimental. And so I think that's all that I've planted so far in the garden. I have already got some started tomatoes and pepper plants out there that are still going, and a couple squash. So other than that, my summer field peas are still going, and pumpkins are going out there. So I will start with the herbs. And with the herbs, I'm not going to plant a lot of these. What I will do is I'll get like a 6-pack sale, and I will plant one type of herb in each cell with several seeds in them, and then whatever comes up, I'll just have a few starts of each thing. So I haven't started. I have a plant out there, but it's going to seed. So cilantro, parsley. I have a parsley plant that has overwintered for 2 years now that I've been picking parsley off, but it's a flat leaf, and this is Italian curly leaf. I'm going to do some lemon mint. My whole entire garden is taken over by chocolate mint, but I did want to do some lemon mint for tea purposes and also for pesto. I wanted to start some more chives. So the chives that I have 2 pots of chives. One that I've had for a year and the other one I've had for about 7 years. But I just wanted to start some extra ones. And nasturtium, I tried planting nasturtium in the spring and none of mine came up. Or if they did come up, they got shaded out by marigolds too soon. So I wanted to try some of these since we didn't have any spring ones. And I won't be growing any marigolds because my whole garden, if you've seen it, is got marigolds everywhere that reseeded from last year. So I don't know if these will come up because these are older seeds, but these are caraway. And I'm going to do some dill, and I want to grow these dill and these herbs in my grow bags close to my house, because it seems like whenever it's way out in the garden I forget about it and I don't use it as much. So in this packet is just a variety of fern leaf, mammoth, and bouquet dill, and some of these in here are pelleted. I just put them all in the same container because I was consolidating and organizing my seed collection to see what I have. Some thyme. I do have one thing of thyme out there, one little thyme plant, but I want to get some extra one because they grow better in the fall. And some sage. So I will probably just get 2 little 6-pack containers and start all of these. Just sprinkle seeds all throughout them and see what comes up. That way that doesn't take up a lot of time and space. So moving on to the flowers, I'm going to be starting some of these dwarf sunflowers. And I think that's about the only flower that I have here. So the last herb that I'm going to be doing, so I did start some Italian basil, some sweet basil, Genovese basil, and I have some Thai basil out there already in different kinds of culinary blend. But I grew this last year, and it's the cardinal basil from Baker Creek. And it was absolutely gorgeous. It did wonderful. The bees loved it. It was so fragrant. It was one of my favorite herbs that I've ever grown. And apparently we didn't start any of these. Once it started getting time for basil to start basil, I don't know, I kind of got behind on starting that. So I didn't get starting this, so I want to start some really soon because we have plenty of time to grow this before frost. And the next one is the spicy globe basil, and I meant to start this too, but I didn't start it this year. So I want to go ahead and get some of this going and try it out. I've never tried the spicy globe basil. It says it's miniature with a full-size spicy flavor, and it grows 6 to 8 inches tall. So it's a small or compact basil plant, but it has a spicy spice to it. So. And then the other one is opal basil. A few of the ones that I planted in my culinary blend look like this, so I might have a couple already growing in the garden that I've already transplanted, but I'm going to grow a couple more just in case. So the next thing I want to talk about is root crops. So I have this big container of rutabagas that I got from the feed store. And I imagine some kind of turnip or rutabaga, but I'm going to plant a few of these just to see how it goes this early, and then I'll plant a little bit more a little later on down the road. And also some of these white globe purple top turnips from Hoss Tools. And then I have some gourmet radish blend that I'm going to be starting. And I'll be mixing in some of the French breakfast, and then my favorite the purple plum radishes. I just love how beautiful these are. They do really well. They did really well for me in the spring too. And then I have a little container of lady slipper radishes that I'm just going to finish off because there's only a few in here. So I'll just make me a little mixed bag of radishes and plant those all together, and then in a couple of weeks plant a little bit more. Alright, so with the onions, I have some Vidalia sweet onions, some Granite yellow hybrid onions, and then just some generic yellow onions. So I'm going to plant a little bit of each one of those, and then in a couple weeks I'll plant some more. And then for the bunching onions, I have the white Lisbon from the Dollar Tree, and then I bought these in the spring. It's a Flavor King from Burpee that I'm going to be trying. Alright, and I think that is all of the root crops. I'm not sure. I might start a few beets here this week, but I'll probably wait a couple of weeks. Just kind of worried that they're going to go to seed because of the heat. And I'm going to do just like the radishes. I'm just going to pour a little of each of these in a container and then just plant them all out to see how they do. I have some Merlin beets from Halls. I have the cylinder beets from Baker Creek. I have some of the tried and true Detroit beets, and I still have some of the golden beets from Baker Creek, and these did pretty good. I planted these the latest last year, and they did pretty decent. I actually got a couple small jars of these. I usually don't have very good luck with growing the roots of the actual beets, but I still always grow them because I have hope. But I eat a lot of the greens. I love the beet greens, so it's not a total loss. Alright, from there I'm going to go over some of the greens. I'm going to be planting some of the rainbow Swiss chard, and then I still have some of my Halls baby Swiss chard that I'm going to be planting, and then I'm going to plant a little bit of Savannah mustard. I will be ordering some more of this because there's just a little bit in here, so I can plant some in a couple of containers. But I want to be, you know, between now and spring, I'm going to be wanting to plant a lot of this in beds because it does really well here. And this Savannah mustard tastes more like a pak choy type green to me, like the Asian green. It doesn't have that strong mustard taste. Okay. Alright, we'll talk about lettuce. So I'm not sure how lettuce is going to go, so I'm just going to plant a couple of the ones that I have a lot of seeds of. It's still really hot. I'm going to do some black seed Simpson and some Paris Island romaine. These are about the hardiest lettuces that you are going to find and volt resistant. And then I'm just going to plant a little bit of the prize head, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to plant those in containers and keep them in the shade and see how they do, and see if I can get any lettuce before it bolts. But I will be planting more of this, of course, as it starts to cool down in a couple more weeks. Probably about at least 3 weeks I'll try to plant again. And moving on to the main things that I need to get started right now is cabbage and broccoli and kale. So I have some early Jersey cabbage here. I have some Copenhagen market cabbage, and I don't have pictures or seed packets to show you, but that's what I have on hand. So I'm gonna go ahead and start those, the early Jersey and the Copenhagen. I also have some Chinese cabbage, and this is the cabbage that is popular for it's not really a full heading cabbage, and they use it for kimchi a lot, and it's really mild. It takes on the flavor of whatever you cook it in. So I think that this would be a good one to start earlier, and I also think it'll be good for stir fries, which it's advertised as being good for stir fry. So I'm going to try some of that. And then I have this red acre cabbage. So I will be starting these seeds to see how they do. Some of this is from 2020, some of it from 2021. I bought these last year, but I was not impressed with the germination rate. For some reason, usually this company is really good. This is from Amazon, but I had terrible germination rate with this particular seed packet. So I'm just going to try it out, and hopefully in the next couple weeks I'll be able to order some more fresher seed. So same thing with broccoli. I have a bunch of the welcome broccoli on hand, and I still have some purple sprouting broccoli, and this is probably from 2020. And then I still have some Romanesco broccoli. So the deal with the Romanesco broccoli is I've been trying to grow it for 3 years, and I have gotten 1 or 2 that I've gotten the right timing on that actually produced. Usually I plant them too late. Even in the fall I plant them too early. So I haven't really got the timing right on these, but I really like them, and I am going to keep trying. So I still have seed left, so nothing lost if I keep trying. Alright, moving along to the kale. I have already planted out the red Russian dwarf, and I'm going to plant some lacinato and the dwarf blue curled kale. And I still have some lacinato hanging on out in the garden. I've been giving a lot to my chickens, but it is definitely at the end of its life. So the other one that I have here is the Siberian dwarf kale. So those are the 3 kales that I'm going to plant, along with the red Russian that I planted last week. And that is everything that I'm planning on planting today and this week. So I wanted to talk about what things that I want to buy that were not in my seeds that I would like to add to my fall and winter garden. So I want to add some butterhead or butter crunch lettuce. That's like my favorite lettuce, and I want to buy these from seed definitely this year, because most of the time I will buy starts of these at different times, couple times, of some of these items on here. But starts at the most dependable place to get starts are like Lowe's and Home Depot, and sometimes Tractor Supply too. But if they're so expensive, it's crazy. Like one plant is like $8 if you buy a pepper plant or a lettuce plant or a cabbage plant or a single broccoli. It is crazy, and I cannot go and buy a plant one broccoli or one pepper plant for like $8 when I have all the skill set that I have and the seeds that I have. So I just can't. So I'm wanting to find these and start some seed. If I don't get a hold of some of these things, it's not going to be a big deal. I have your run-of-the-mill Old Faithful stuff, and as you can see, I have lots. Some of these things I have lots and lots of seeds of. So this is just my wish list. So I have butterhead and butter crunch lettuce, tatsao, pak choy, and bok choy, and those things, those tatsao, pak choy, and bok choy, I really enjoyed them last fall and this spring growing those. They were so good. And I want to get some scarlet kale and some blue dazzling kale. I've grown the scarlet kale before, but I've never grown the blue dazzling kale, and so I want to try that. And I want to get some red cabbage and some red onions. I'm looking at the Dynasty red cabbage from Haas Tools and the SoFire red onions from Haas Tools. Those are the 2 that I've been that I have in my cart that I'm wanting to order. I wanted to get some of the Touchtone and Vulture beets. The Touchtones are golden, and the Vulture beets are just a really big, hearty red beet. I want to get some of the long carrot like radishes. Hostels has some red radishes that are long and skinny. They're not like the cylinder beets or anything like that. They're actually like a red carrot. So I definitely want to try those to see how those do, because the icicle radishes, the long skinny white ones, do really well here. So I just want to try those out of curiosity. I also want to get some of my favorite broccoli variety, which is Green Magic, and they have another one, I think it's Imperial, or another really large variety that I want to try from Hoss Tools. And then I want to, they have a Caribbean green flat cabbage that I want to try. And pretty much everything that grows good in the Caribbean, like whether it's peppers or whatever it is, usually grows great in my microclimate in Northeast Florida. So very Caribbean-like. You know, the humidity and the heat and everything like that is a lot the same. So that might be a cabbage. We have a problem, you know, with cabbage here because it gets so hot so fast, and we have cabbage, you know, the pests and everything like that. So if there's a cabbage that they grow in the Caribbean, it'll probably grow good here. So I need to get some more Christmas limas. I used up all my seeds earlier planting out in the garden. I didn't get that great of germination, so I just have a little bit out there. So I want to succession plant some more of those to go through the winter. And I also want to get some new fresh bush green beans. So I want to get some of the striped green beans and some of the green blaze green beans, and these are at Hoss Tools, but I'm sure everybody sells the striped ones, just because I want a really prolific green bean to grow in the fall, bush green bean to grow in the fall. I will, once it starts cooling down, my rattlesnakes will pick back up again and start making awesome, you know, beans again. But we did not have a very good, just like everything else, we didn't have a very good green bean crop this year because of the weather. So I want to get a good green bean crop for fall. And I would like to get some more of those pink half runner beans. I grew those last fall and they did really well, even reseeded themselves, and a couple of them came back. So that is my wish list of things that I want to purchase seed, and what I've already started and what I'm about to start. And then there are still things in my boxes here that I want to start, but not now, like more lettuces and stuff like that. So that is that, and I appreciate you watching this video all the way through, and I will talk to you guys later. Okay, so here's how we got on the planting today. We did not get to the lettuce, the beets, or the sunflowers, and that's all I can remember that I still have to plant. We can plant those another day. I'm sure it won't hurt to wait on them things, especially since it's still so hot. Just wanted to show you the progress on the stuff we planted the other day. The autumn sunflowers are coming up beautifully. The Georgia collards are coming up beautifully. The red Russian kale has not come up yet. And our determinate tomatoes, indeterminate, or the determinate Romas and determinate beefsteaks and purple tomatillos have not started coming up yet, but it's only been a couple days. So here's what we got today. So in this 6-pack sale, so in each one of these sales, I just put a bunch of seeds. So they will germinate, or what will germinate, and then I will transplant them into these 12-pack small sale. And you can see the difference between the 6-pack and the 12-pack, how small these are. So I will transplant them all into 12-pack cells like that, and then I will up pot them. You know, after I up pot them from here, they'll go into the garden. So we are able to start a bunch of seeds in a small area with a small amount of dirt to get them going. That way we're not wasting a lot of time, energy, space, and dirt on stuff that doesn't germinate. So basically this one right here is cabbage. We got the red acre cabbage. We got the Jersey cabbage. We got those in both of those cells. We got the Chinese cabbage, the Waltham broccoli, and the Copenhagen cabbage. And then this next one, we got the blue kale, Romanesco broccoli, lacinato kale, purple sprouting broccoli, purple top turnips, and rutabagas. And then this little 12 cell right here, we have sprinkled some herbs, and each one of those, and those are dill, lemon mint, cilantro, Italian parsley, all different things like that that we went over earlier. There's also some cardinal basil in there. And then in these smaller ones I have onions. I got the Vidalia onions, the Lisbon bunching, the yellow onion, and then in here nasturtium, the yellow granix onion, bunching king onions, and then these two I planted the other day. This is the Italian sweet basil and the Giants of California zinnias. So that's how we planted a lot of seeds in a short amount of time and a small amount of space. So we will see what comes up and what doesn't. I'm not sure if it's still too hot. I'm using this big tree. This table right here is always shaded all day long, so it's a lot cooler underneath this table than anywhere else in my yard, and it gets a good breeze through here. So I'm hoping that, with that being said, that I will be able to start some of this stuff that's for the fall. All right, well, appreciate you watching, and let me know what you guys are starting if you're in zone 9. What are different things that you're starting right now in the beginning of August? All right, talk to you later. Bye.